Hey, it's been a while. Let's talk about movies. Okay, so, remember this thing called Thots? Yeah, I had that series going on. The last video was, a year back. So, I thought, why not talk about some of the movies that I watched over the past however long since I made the Alita Battle Angel video, and now. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. So, anyways, grab a seat, grab some drinks, and yeah, let's get into this. Eighth Grade is a film directed by Bo Burnham, and it is a very awkward film. In a good way, in the best way possible, this film is extremely awkward. It conveys 8th grade very well, at least from an 8th grade girl's perspective. There's a lot of insecurity there and uncertainty. Personally, can't relate. My 8th grade was pretty lit. Fuck, I can't. I just said lit. Yeah, my 8th grade was pretty epic. Fuck. But yeah, bottom line, my 8th grade was pretty good. But this movie's still a bomb and pretty funny at times. Yeah, it's a movie. I give it a 7 out of 10. It's a comedy, interesting, about 8th grade, awkward. There you go. Oh, this movie. So, y'all heard of Frozen before? Yeah, this is the sequel. It's a movie. It's a movie. I felt like the elements that they played with in this movie was very cool. They were trying to go for an epic tale, and it didn't quite deliver the third act. Kristoff doesn't exist in this movie. Well, he does, but as a character, his characteristic is that of a piece of salmon. So, yeah. The songs in this are good. They're all good. They're not great, but they're all good. The comparison to the first Frozen movie had S tier songs, and then the A tier songs, and then the F tier, the troll song. That's what I'm trying to say. But this movie, all the songs are like B and A tier. They're all okay. None of them are bad. So, I guess that's cool. And I have to say, the first half of this movie I thoroughly enjoyed, and then it just felt rushed at the end, and then, yeah. If you're a fan of the first film, give it a watch. You know, it's fine. I mean, paying $20 in theaters? Maybe not. This movie it does just give me a huge sense of disappointment, but it's a fine movie. The animation is absolutely gorgeous, and was the best animation I've ever seen since, like, to that point. But there's another movie that I've seen that has animation that blows this out of the water that I'm going to talk about soon, but I'm not sure how many more slides until we get there. So, yeah, this movie, Frozen 2, 6.5 out of 10. It's kind of disappointing. It looks great. Joker. Alright. Joker is a great film. I think a bit before Joker, that's where DC started to, significantly bump up their content after Zack Snyder. And, yeah, Joker is amazing. Joker, it's just about it's about the psychology of this insane person, and there's so much in the film that you can look at. There's little details that you can look at and try to piece together. Like, is this real? Is this not real? Is Thomas Wayne? What's going on with him? It's great. It's a great film. It's shot beautifully, and Joaquin Phoenix is amazing. That's what I have to say about Joker. Joker, 8 out of 10. Wonderful film. Amazing acting. Amazing cinematography. this was the movie I was saying that has even better animation. Why? It's just, there's something about the animation style here. Okay, alright, I may be lying before. Technically, maybe not as impressive, based on just the 3D animation, but this type of 2D animation, the water, drawing the art here, the style here is something that I feel like 3D animation can never capture. And this is the most gorgeous film I've ever seen in my life, and I can put money on that. Apart from that, this movie, directed by Shinkai, the director of Your Name, which is a film I hold very high. This film as a sequel to Your Name, it's not. I mean, the elements, there's more mature elements. However, it doesn't quite. It's not as good as Your Name. I'm sad to say, but it's good in its own right. And the only issue with this movie is that it came after Your Name, which was so good. In this movie, I guess the male character is, his character is more fleshed out than Taki's was, and it's kind of a role reversal this time, where last time Taki's character wasn't as fleshed out, but Mitsuha's was. This time, our boy, what is his name? Wait. Yeah, Hodaka. Right. He is way more developed than Taki was. So, great job there. And the city of Tokyo is beautiful, and the ending is surprising. I'll say that. And I know a lot of me talking about this film has made me talk about Your Name, but really, it's something that you need to make a comparison about, because same director, animation very good, and has somewhat of a similar story. It's a bit of a spiritual successor in that way. And yeah, this film, it's good. It's just not as good as Your Name. So, 8 out of 10. It's a great film, just it came after an amazing film, so little bit of disappointment there. But looking at it on its own terms, wonderful film. This next film, it's a bit of an older film, but I think I need to point it out because of how great I think this film actually is. Schindler's List, directed by Spielberg, is about a German, a Nazi, a war profiteer who profits off of Jews, changing his heart and starting to help Jewish people during the Holocaust. And this movie, it's paced very well. The stories, it's tugs at your heartstrings, and it's in black and white, which I think helps some of the very graphic imagery of what happens to the Jewish people during the Holocaust. It's some of the scenes of the Jews being persecuted because of the fact that they use black and white in this film. It looked like the real deal. It was horrific. And that's why I love it. Well, not because of the scenes were horrific, but because just how amazing they managed to portray Schindler and Schindler's Jews and all that. It's a historically accurate film, and I think it needs to be given a lot of credit for how well it is actually handled. So yeah, wonderful film. Great watch. I'd say 8.5 out of 10. Great film. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a Quentin Tarantino film, and it is an alternative history film about the Manson murders, where Charles Manson's followers murdered Hollywood young actress Sharon Tate. But that doesn't happen until those events aren't really touched on until the end of the film. Mainly DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. Great. Their performances are wonderful. Well, they are kind of playing themselves in a way. But it's a really authentic portrayal of how Hollywood was, and it breathes of real energy. All the cars, all the radio stations, you feel like you're in the 80s. You feel like you're in that time period. And I just have to say that this was a brilliantly built up world. The story is not super captivating at times for me personally. However, I appreciated the film a lot. The acting was great. The characters were great. The cinematography was good. There's one specific scene that really caught my attention. However, I don't want to spoil the film for you if you decide to watch it. And yeah, it feels like a great documentary that has a twist. So great, wonderful. 7.5 out of 10. Good watch. Oh boy. The Angry Birds movie 2. The Angry Birds movie 2 is a movie that is so incredibly just, it's so fun and it's so bad that I love it. I love it so much. There's so many pop culture songs. It's like Shrek, but they went like, they turned it up to 11 on all the pop culture songs. And it's interesting. If you have kids, I'm sure that it's a great watch. It's fun for the whole family. I mean, it was pretty late at night. I was probably delirious, and this movie just, I like this movie a lot more than I probably should. And it's hilarious in a way that The Room is hilarious. So, yeah, Angry Birds movie 2 gets a fat 6 out of 10 for me. It's very fun, but it's also really bad. But it's so bad that it's good. Watch it. Avengers Endgame. Yes, this movie. Oh, this movie is such. This movie is so magnificent of a conclusion. However, the movie on its own is, well, I mean, it doesn't hold that much weight, but it is such an amazing payoff to the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's scenes that made me cry, and if you haven't watched this movie yet, you're lying. You've definitely watched this movie. There's no one on the planet that hasn't watched this movie yet. This movie is a celebration. It's a celebratory party of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. And, you know, if you've been with this person, if you've been with the MCU for every step of the way, it's such a good payoff. But just like how if a celebrity has a kid and you never followed him, you're just like, oh, cool. I don't give a shit. If you haven't been following the Marvel Cinematic Universe, well, this movie will just be fine. It's fine. The epic moments that are in this movie, man, they are so incredible. Well, not epic moments. The epic moment, if you know what I'm talking about. It's incredible. It brought me to tears in the theater because of the pure emotion I was feeling, the awe I was feeling of what I'm seeing in the moment. And yeah, Avengers Endgame, 8 out of 10. It's a great payoff to the entirety of the MCU.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
1917 is a film that was filmed in one take. That is a lie, but it was at least made to look like it was a one take. And I think they did it really well. The story of 1917 is nothing spectacular, nothing special at all, actually. It's a typical war film story and very generic. However, the cinematography in this film, and if you just think about how long the takes were and how incredibly impressive it was for the camera crew to do all these angles, and how the behind the scenes, sometimes a camera crew would be holding a camera and then it would pass the camera off, and then they were dressed in soldier costumes and then running into the foreground. It was all just, it was amazing. It was something to witness. It's extremely impressive. However, the film, its story's just alright. The acting is good. And I'm someone who values story a lot, but, you know, knowing the cinematography and everything in this film, I have to give it a fat 8 out of 10. Wonderful cinematography. It's a pleasure to watch. Some people think the cinematography one-shot thing is a gimmick. I think it works wonders in making you feel close to this character like nothing ever before. So yeah, wonderful. Parasite is a movie that won a whole lot of Oscars, directed by South Korean director Bong Joon-ho. And it is a wonderful movie. It depicts class struggles very well, and it's a very morally gray movie that has, well, moments of adrenaline that made me yell when certain things happen on the screen. But this movie, it's just great. There's no other way to say it. Like, okay, it's in Korean, of course, and as an English speaker, you have to watch the subtitles. However, I think it's worth it. I think you should definitely watch this movie. There's so much juice in there that you don't get. There's so much commentary in there that you don't get from movies these days. And it's very creative. And there's a lot of work that went into the creation of this movie. You can tell the camera, the cinematography, the editing in this movie, fantastic also. It's great. This movie, it's just great. Watch it. 9 out of 10.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
The Farewell is a very special indie movie. It's about a Chinese family in America learning that their grandmother is going to die soon and keeping the information from her, saying that it's protecting her. That's the main gist. And the entire movie is about the daughter, portrayed by Awkwafina, trying to figure out whether to tell the grandma that, yo, you got cancer, you're going to die soon. It's an indie film, and it has a special element that I don't see in many films, is that this isn't exactly a movie for the US audience, neither is it a movie for the Chinese audience for, like, at least their standards, because the movie is like 50% Chinese but 50% English. So it's very hard to figure out which market this movie is for, but as the director Lulu has said, this movie is a story, and it doesn't need to be for any market. And that's why she decided to make an indie film. It's because she knew that if she would publish a movie in China, then it would have to conform to a bunch of things of saying how the Chinese way is the good way, and if it was to be a Hollywood film, it would have to, well, they would probably force on like a English speaking boyfriend that doesn't know what's going on. But this movie just, it has a lot of heart. There's a lot of long shots, and the cinematography isn't particularly great, but the story that this film tells and the characters in this film, they're very genuine. And as an American-born Chinese person, this film, it's very genuine. 7.5 out of 10. It's a movie for a very special kind of audience. Jojo Rabbit is amazing. I love this movie so much, and I just can't wait to see what Taika Waititi does next, because this movie, it makes fun of them. It's okay, the idea is a bit weird. A comedy about the Hitler Youth? It's kind of weird. However, the child actress here does amazing. I think all the actors in this movie do their job really great. Taika Waititi's Hitler? Oh my god, his Hitler is hilarious. And also very well portrayed. There's also a twist in this movie that really hits you unexpectedly. However, all the steps, all the clues were there. And once it hits you hard. And then the rest of the movie just it becomes more than the satirical comedy that the movie begins with. But I have to say, the comedy is amazing. Making fun of the Nazis, great. It's hilarious. And something in a lot of Taika Waititi's films is that this movie also has a lot of heart. Even though this movie is a comedy, it has a great amount of heart. You really sympathize with the characters, and the characters are really well written in this brutal world that is really well depicted in a child's eye. Overall, I don't know, I just love this movie. I don't know why I love this movie so much, but I have to give it 9 out of 10. Probably my second favorite movie I've watched 2019. It's just amazing. Worth a watch. Definitely watch it.
I don't know what I was thinking, leaving my child behind. Now I
Midsommar is a horror movie directed by Ari Aster, who directed Hereditary. And it is a psychological ringer. The entire movie takes place in bright lights, but it is one of the most horrifying horror movies I've ever seen. There's no jump scares in this movie. It's mainly the atmosphere that surrounds this movie. It's about a pack of friends going on a summer vacation to Sweden, where they have their typical midsummer festival. And, you know, in Sweden, there's a lot of daylight during those times. And something about this occult setting, it's very alien to us viewers. And the stuff that goes on is horrifying. But in a way, this is a horror movie that has a happy ending. But it's still horrifying every way through. To even the ending, it's horrifying, but it's happy. It's weird. It's a weird movie in that way. I give this movie an 8 out of 10. Must see for horror fans. Why? But Marriage Story really, really hit me, and it hit me hard. And I can't really explain it. And it's very hard. That's why I can't explain it. But I'll try. Marriage Story is a love story about divorce. Now that sounds really weird on its own, but it's about how two people can still love each other even by divorcing, and sometimes it's the right choice. And how divorce doesn't have to be bad, and how the divorce system and lawyers and stuff, that's what really ruins, that picks the worst parts out of humans. And this movie, it's just, once again, has great heart. The characters are all sympathetic. You can sympathize with these characters. You can sympathize with both sides, honestly. You can see both of their points of view. And truly, it is sad, but it's also happy. It's bitter-sweet. I think that's the conclusion. And personally, my parents are not divorced. They've been married, for as long as I know, of course. But even though I haven't been through this, and also I'm not married and I have not been divorced, this movie, it really hits you, and it hits you hard. It's really genuine, real human emotions. And the cinematography in this movie is also it's delightful to look at. The color palette is very soothing to the eyes. Marriage Story is a great movie, and I'd say Marriage Story is my favorite movie of 2019. 9 out of 10. I love it.
Art is dead. Art is dead.
Knives Out, directed by Rian Johnson, is a fun murder mystery. It's intriguing. It's fun. There's so many talented actors in the cast. The movie does something pretty out of the ordinary for murder mysteries, but I will not say it, but just saying, it's really out of the ordinary. However, it's such a fun movie. And the directing style of Rian Johnson is so unique that I have to say, Knives Out is a blast. It is great. It is a good time with the whole family. And because Knives Out is it's so fun, I have to give it an 8 out of 10. I don't have much else to say about this movie. It didn't leave that much of an impact. It's just such a good time. That's why. Birds of Prey is fun. It is a DC movie, and it is such a fun movie. Margot Robbie does a wonderful job, and Ewan McGregor is also amazing as the villain. This movie, it's just so comic book. It's so fun. All the characters are great. They're all different. The Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn. They're all different in their own ways. And this movie, some people might be like, feminist agenda, blah. But it doesn't push it that hard. You can barely notice any, actually, personally, I didn't notice any, blatant shoving in your face feminist stuff. The Hollywood woke stuff that you see these days. And Harley Quinn is a likable character. All these characters are likable human characters, and they're not perfect. That's not how you write a character. You don't make them perfect. But yeah, Birds of Prey, really fun time. Is it absolutely amazing? No, it's not. It's not. But it's fun. And it's a great watch. So, set a night aside, sit back, relax, and enjoy this movie. Because it's oozing with energy. 7 out of 10. Great time.
Are you hungry? You look to be a bit hungry.
No.
So after seeing Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, I hit up the Netflix, checked out what movies were there because I was bored, and Snowpiercer, also directed by Bong Joon-ho, showed up, and this movie is good. This is a very good movie. It's a movie about the apocalypse where the entire world has frozen and the entire world is on a train. And basically the people at the back of the train are lower class, people at the front of the train are higher class. The entire movie is about a revolution of people from the back of the train moving in front. Visually, it's gorgeous. It really sells this world very well. And the main character, and it's his side accompanying characters, they're also great. Chris Evans' character, Curtis, he is a soldier. He is the soldier type. And to be honest, he does questionable stuff, like murder, all the time in this story. However, there's a really good monologue he has at the end that I think is one of the best film monologues I've ever heard. But overall, Snowpiercer is a fascinating movie. And if you have time to watch this movie, it's worth a watch. Because the world it develops and the conflict in this movie, they're just so interesting. So yeah, Snowpiercer, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. Great. So now that I talk about Netflix, I want to bring up The Witcher Netflix TV show. I mean, is this a movie? No. Does this kind of go against what I said at the start? Talk about some of the movies that I watch over the past however long. The movies. Well, it's my video, so I can do what I want. The Witcher Netflix show. I watched this after playing the vanilla Witcher 3 because it was so good. That, yeah, this show is kind of bad. It's not horrible. It's kind of bad. Henry Cavill, great. First episode, rent-free, all that, wonderful. It's just, many little choices they have in this movie make it TV series makes it a lot less than what the books and the games have. It's more black and white. It's less of a morally gray world that they made. Some of the characters far too evil compared to the actual game. However, Geralt is done perfectly. His bard friend, Dandelion, wonderful. Ciri is done quite poorly, I would have to say. His character, she is supposed to have a really great chemistry with Henry Cavill's Geralt, but they never meet until the end. Which I'm sorry if I just spoiled that, but this is kind of shit. So, read the books instead of watching that. But yeah, the thing is that it's just it's such a disappointment compared to the books and the games. However, credit where credit is due. Geralt is wonderful. Yennefer is Geralt's lover. Is okay. Ciri is done poorly. That's what I have to say about The Witcher Netflix. The Witcher Netflix season 1. I give this 5 out of 10. It's because the 5 out of 10. It's because Geralt is good and Yennefer is good. There wasn't enough of Geralt, and Geralt and Ciri didn't have a relation. And also, one more thing. I almost forgot to bring this up. How did I almost forget to bring this up? They milk the word destiny so much in this first season. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. They use the word destiny literally 5 times every sentence. It is absolutely annoying. They milk it so much. It got on my nerves literally the second episode. So, yeah. Why, writers? Why? And talking about TV shows that weren't that good, Game of Thrones Season 8. Now, credit where credit is due. Episode 1 was fine. Episode 2 was really good. The rest of the series was bad. It was bad. And it was bad for the reason that it just felt so rushed. Like, I'm fine with where the story went. No, don't get me wrong. It was fine. Although I think it was too happy of an ending for the whole bittersweet ending. Yes. No, all the Stark children, they were all fine. Yeah, all the Stark children that were made it up to that point at the end of season 8 was all fine. And they just kind of killed the Night King also. It's so disappointing. And I think with a few extra seasons, the show could have really fleshed out where they were trying to go. But it felt like that they didn't have an idea of how to get here, and the show writers were just really tired, and they just kind of went like, whatever, let's just get here as soon as possible. And that's just lazy, and it's really sad to see how a brilliant show ended this way. The entirety of Game of Thrones, I would give this show like 8 out of 10, but this last season, it's just bad. 4 out of 10. The first 2 episodes are kind of good. Rest of it is just so incredibly shite. I'm so disappointed that I lean far back in my chair. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Boo, confetti, yay, we did it. I've reviewed all of these films. Yay. Yeah, if you want a recap, well, too bad, but here is a tier list that recaps everything. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video of me talking about movies. Rapid fire thoughts, yeah. Normal thoughts should come back eventually, maybe when the quarantine ends, but here's rapid fire thoughts. Whoop whoop. Rapid fire thoughts. Alright, cool. See ya. That's not how you end a video.